The world we live in is full of mysteries that science cannot explain. One of the most intriguing is the possibility of communicating with the spirits of the dead. Many have heard about the existence of unusual people who have a special gift. They are able to serve as a link between our world and the realm of the dead. They perceive information from the subtle world and transmit it to us, ordinary people. Perhaps their abilities allow them to receive answers to questions about the past, present, and future, as well as to impart valuable advice and hints from spiritual entities. Mediums are conduits between two worlds. A person who has never tried to communicate with deceased loved ones most often imagines a medium in the image of the heroine Whoopi Goldberg from the movie Ghost. However, Suzanne Giesemann does not fit into this stereotype at all. She is a modern, vibrant woman, a recognized visionary and metaphysical teacher dedicated to personal improvement and spiritual growth. Her name is included in the list of the 100 most spiritually influential people alive, according to Watkins magazine Mind, Body, Spirit, where her name is next to the names of Pope Francis and the Dalai Lama. Suzanne is the author of 18 books and runs a YouTube channel with millions of viewers. She conducts classes, seminars, and retreats all over America. Suzanne was born in 1961 and has had an impressive career in the military, which is especially difficult for a woman. She is a retired U.S. Navy officer with a master's degree in public administration. Suzanne was an aide to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and taught political science at the Naval Academy. Let's find out how her transition from a senior military officer to her current job took place. This is described in Giesemann's book Messages of Hope. Suzanne's abilities have been tested repeatedly. In a recent test conducted by researcher Gary Schwartz, PhD, her mediumistic reading was found to be 94% accurate, which is an exceptionally high score. However, she herself always requires verifiable evidence from those who contact her from the afterlife. The main purpose of the medium is to confirm the continuity of consciousness after the death of the physical body. The eternity of the soul cannot yet be proven with the help of modern technology. However, by applying the same standards that are used in the justice system, we can get as close to the truth as possible. Everyone I talk to provides me with proof of their reality. Therefore, I know without any doubt that those who passed away are still here. Suzanne wasn't a natural medium. She hadn't seen, felt, or heard spirits until a certain point. The woman was proud of her achievements in military service, but her internal priorities had changed. Nothing compares to the honor of showing you that your loved ones who have passed away are still here. This transition happened thanks to my stepdaughter, whose name was also Susan. She is the daughter of my husband Ty, who grew up in our family. Susan was a Marine sergeant. She was 27 years old and pregnant. One day, while crossing the runway of Cherry Point Air Base during a severe thunderstorm, she was struck by lightning. They died together, Susan and our unborn grandson. During the funeral, Suzanne looked at the body in the coffin and couldn't believe that her stepdaughter was gone forever. Her body was just an empty shell, and Susan's beautiful soul was missing. She should have been alive. Then, Suzanne Giesemann decided to personally establish contact with her stepdaughter. It took several years, and this event was not instantaneous. But she knew that meditation was the key to connecting with the afterlife. A week after the funeral, she began to enter a trance. This was the beginning of her transformation. Eventually, the contact took place. The stepdaughter appeared from time to time for a conversation, and Suzanne is sure that everything is fine with her. Many of those who have lost loved ones desperately believe that they have not disappeared forever. Suzanne understands these feelings because she has experienced something similar herself. That is why now she speaks on behalf of those who are in the spiritual world. They are here. They want you to know that there is an afterlife. However, the medium does not urge you to take her word for it, but is ready to provide a lot of evidence of the reality of the spirit world. Here are a few stories in which Suzanne conveyed unique information from the afterlife, information that she could not obtain either by reading her clients' minds or by collecting available data. A woman who had lost 2 sons came to one of the sessions. Both died in car accidents, but at different times and under different circumstances. Suzanne made contact with one of them, James. He described in detail the accident that occurred at night on the main highway, as a result of which he died. At that moment, there was a passenger in the car who also died. The mother confirmed that her son's friend was traveling with him. During the conversation, James mentioned several times the 3 crosses standing along that highway. However, the client immediately denied these words, saying that there were only 2 crosses there. One was erected by her and her husband, and the other by the parents of the second deceased. Suzanne felt that the woman was beginning to doubt her ability to convey true information, but continued the session. James then informed her that his mother had a sign on her car with his name and the name of his brother, who had died earlier. Lowering her head, the woman firmly stated that she had nothing of the kind. After that, she asked to stop the session and hurriedly left the room. Suzanne, however, was convinced of the truthfulness of the spirit's words and felt that everything would soon become clear. Each Giesemann client receives a recording of the session. James's mother also took it away and later showed it to her daughter as proof that the medium was lying. But her daughter's reaction was unexpected. "Mom, do you remember if you've had this sticker on the back window of your car for years? You thought about the license plate, but that wasn't what he was talking about. What about the 3 crosses? The accident that killed James and his friend Michael happened because they were distracted by another disaster that happened just a minute before. A woman died in that first collision. Her family later erected another cross there. So there really are 3 crosses on the highway." A few days later, the woman sent Suzanne a letter of apology. She regretted doubting the words of the medium. 2 photographs were enclosed in the envelope. One showed a sticker on the glass of her car with the names of her dead sons. The other showed a picture of a highway with 2 crosses on one side of the road and a third on the other side. Sometimes, during sessions, the medium experiences physical pain that coincides with the near-death state of the deceased who contact her. Especially strong feelings arise when contacting those who have recently passed away. However, over time, the painful symptoms become less noticeable. Suzanne is sure that everything in that world is temporary, except for the soul, which continues to live forever. One day, during a session, Giesemann felt a sharp pain in the liver area, and then she felt as if she was drowning. The client confirmed that her loved one suffered from cirrhosis of the liver. He was prescribed blood-thinning drugs. However, due to a medical error, an overdose occurred, and he died from internal bleeding. This man assures that everything is fine with him now, and humorously talks about his new life. Suzanne reminds us that the deceased remain the same as they were during their lifetime. If they were cheerful and sociable, then their soul will retain the same qualities. If during their lifetime they were distinguished by restraint and seriousness, then even after death their spirit will remain taciturn. They appear at the sessions exactly as their loved ones remember them, so that no one doubts their authenticity. Here is another case that cannot be explained by telepathy, as it was predicted long before its occurrence. At one of the sessions, Suzanne conveyed to her mother the words of her son. He sends her an owl as a sign of his presence. The client was surprised and replied that she had never seen anything like it. However, a week later, she emailed the medium. "You won't believe what just happened. I opened the front door, and the owl flew right into the house. She went straight to my son's room and stayed there for an hour despite the open window. And then she just flew away. Now I have no doubt that my son is here." Meetings with parents who have lost young children occupy a special place in communication with the other world. The souls of such children are constantly invisibly present in the lives of those they loved. This can be confirmed by an amusing incident that occurred at one of the sessions. As soon as Suzanne managed to establish contact with Carly, who was only 8 years old at the time of her death, the girl indignantly exclaimed, "I'm not a prima donna at all." The mother, whose tears mixed with a smile, explained to the surprised medium, "Last Sunday, their family celebrated Carly's birthday, which was supposed to be 10 years old. They remembered how the girl shone on stage when she was the lead singer of a musical group. One of the family friends, who had never known Carly during her lifetime, watched the video of her performance and exclaimed, "The girl had an incredible talent. Carly could be a real prima donna. I wish I had seen her concerts." And so when Carly had the opportunity to speak out, the first thing she said was a protest against this statement. How can you call it a coincidence? No. This is a real contact with a living soul. Another case that proves the presence of the dead in our world occurred with a married couple who asked Suzanne to contact her husband's brother. He died a year ago in Canada, and the couple wanted to know how he feels in the afterlife. The medium established contact with the deceased, and he assured her that he was no longer suffering from pain and was happy in his new reality. At the end of the conversation, he uttered a strange phrase: "Life is too short to take it seriously." The couple were surprised. When they finally found the words, his wife explained that it was her late brother-in-law's favorite aphorism. And then the husband took out his phone and showed a photo of his brother's tombstone. Those very words were carved on the stone. Suzanne had never heard this saying before, and, of course, had never been to a cemetery in Toronto. So how was she supposed to know that? Another communication session with the subtle world, which was fully confirmed by real facts. Matthew was in deep grief. Suzanne initially assumed that he had lost his wife, but it turned out that he was talking about a man. At that moment, the medium saw the image of an imperious, self-confident man standing with his back straight and his hands on his hips. When she described her vision, her visitor immediately recognized her friend. The deceased's name was Steve. He was a gourmet, appreciated expensive wine, and knew how to enjoy life. Steve told me that Matthew keeps his urn with ashes on the mantelpiece. Next to it is a photo of Archangel Michael and a small toy, a Hawaiian dancer powered by solar panels. And there's always a candle burning and a fresh bouquet of roses. Matthew was amazed at the accuracy of the description. From what he said, it was obvious that Steve knew exactly what was going on in the house. This means that other departed loved ones continue to follow us. Steve then mentioned that Matthew had collected his razor hairs and was wearing them in a locket. The client silently took the jewelry out from under his shirt, confirming the words of the medium. He admitted that at first he wanted to put some ashes there after cremation, but eventually changed his mind. It turned out that Steve was also present at the farewell ritual at the lake, which his friends arranged after the cremation. He described in detail how 3 trees were planted in his honor, farewell notes were burned, and then a flower wreath with a lit candle was sent across the water. Matthew listened in complete amazement. Everything was true, down to the smallest detail. At the end of the session, something unexpected happened. Steve said that Matthew, as a great connoisseur of classical music, has excellent speakers with excellent sound quality. Matthew frowned and shook his head. "I do not know what he is talking about. I don't have that kind of equipment." But 4 days later, Matthew called Suzanne and, shocked, told her that he had received a package from his former boss, a set of high-end speakers. Steve knew in advance that his friend would receive this gift, and he sent a message about it even before it became a reality. Suzanne is convinced that love can always be felt during spiritualistic sessions. This is not a figment of the imagination, but a genuine connection of souls. It doesn't matter that one of them is behind the veil separating earthly life from the afterlife. Love is the main law of existence. And when you manage to hear the voice of a dear person again, to understand that he is still there, the fear of death loses its power. Studying the afterlife over the years, Suzanne has come to a firm conviction. The dead continue to be present in the lives of the living. They're nearby, they can hear us. All you need to do is talk to them, share your thoughts, and reach out to them. Your loved ones have not disappeared into the darkness of the abyss. They exist beyond the edge, from where they watch over you and support you. Realizing this helps ease the pain of loss for those who have recently lost a loved one. It also eliminates the fear of the inevitable. We are loved by those who left earlier, and when the time comes, they will be waiting for us on the threshold of a new life to meet us with an open heart. What do you think about the afterlife? Where do you think we will end up after physical death? Do you believe in life after death? Write your opinion in the comments. If you want to learn more about life after death, then I recommend watching my other videos. Please don't forget to like this video if you liked it. See you soon.